pulls it out. That top deck of a rock fighter weapon. Looks like we're going to be going into a game 2 with the lead 1-0 for LBYS here. Now, we still have that matchup set up here possibly that I've talked about. I think the warrior deck from the Rat matches up pretty well against this paladin deck because this is that deck that we haven't seen a lot of. It's an aggro paladin deck, and there's just so many X1s in this deck. That ghoul might just be so unbelievable in this matchup.
I really hope the Paladin is able to find the Reno lock at some point because I just want to see the Divine Favor for just way too many cards.
Yeah, I think on average it's like 5 in that matchup. It's like 4 or 5 almost every time.
Yeah. So I'm curious how this matchup actually works. You know, the Paladin's definitely an aggressive deck. It's just Rogue does have really good tools to deal with the board, the backstab, the SI, the Fan of Knives.
We haven't seen Fan of Knives yet from the Rat, right? I believe it's in his deck, but I don't think we've seen it on any turn.
He's got to be running too, I think. But maybe that's something that he thinks is cuttable, but I doubt it. I think he's just, unfortunately, hasn't drawn it yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really like Coin Dagger up here. I've talked to a lot of Rogue players. They're not a big fan of that play of Coin Dagger up because, you know, the coin just has so much power as the game goes on in their deck. You know, combo potential, drawing cards with it and stuff like that. But I really like it against the Paladin deck.
Yeah. It pretty much guarantees that no matter what minion he plays on 2, he's going to be able to clean it up. Because even if he played that Flame Juggler, you could have went the Abyss for 2 and just daggered it again.
Yeah, and you're going to see Brian the Rat Cortez be really aggressive with his removal early in the game here. I think that's like the name of the game in this matchup. You just have to not be too shy with your removal. Make sure that your life total stays as high as possible because your late game is so much better than theirs is. Plus, it gets cards out of your hand, you know, against things like Divine Favor.
So we're going to see the True Silver come out this turn, just clean up the minion, start pushing that face damage in. He's going to try and dump this hand to get a pretty good Divine Favor. It just, the question is, like, will his board be able to stick throughout the game?
Yeah, it hasn't been able to yet, and Brian the Rat Cortez picking up another good one here. Bloodmage Thanos into backstab seems pretty clean. But does he want to do that this turn? I mean, what else would he be doing if he doesn't do this? I mean, I don't like pass. I don't like just, you know, hit with dagger or re-dagger up. I like developing something at least. Plus,
I like going for the Abyss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you have the backstab to remove the minion with the Azure Drake next turn.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's actually a really good point. I like that a lot.
Ooh, we see Twisted Worgen. Surprised to see that in there. But I guess
it's a card that's gotten in and out of my versions of this deck. I think it's really good. I mean, it's a 3-power minion with stealth, so it almost always gets in. But there's just too many cards that kill it now. You know, there's like the Ghoul, there's like Fan of Knives. These cards are very popular, and they're in every lineup in tournament decks.
Yeah. So we're finally seeing LBYS just get rid of his hand. Might go for the Divine Favor next turn.
Yeah, 4 damage backstab. 0 mana, deal 4 damage to your minion. I'd play that card.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, this Divine Favor though. If he picks up a 1-drop along with the Twisted Worgen here, he can get it for full value next turn. Something like Abusive Sergeant, maybe. Argent Squire, probably definitely in this deck since he has like that mini synergy with Divine Shields. Does he have a good attack with the Divine Shield here? It doesn't kill off. I mean, it doesn't really do a whole lot. I think I'd rather develop the 3-1.
I think
use my weapon to kill Azure Drake.
Yeah, I think he goes with the True Silver and the Azure Drake and then makes the trade and then probably puts the Divine Shield on the... I think you put it on the 3-1 to play around Fan of Knives.
Yeah, I do like attacking... Yeah, I do like attacking the Bloodmage Thanos here. It gets another card into Brian the Rat Cortez's hand, and you get to use the Divine Favor for a little bit more. Yeah, it's just Worgen kind of plays into Fan of Knives a little bit more.
Yeah, and he goes with that exact play, which makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, he doesn't need a Divine Favor this turn. I mean, what are the max amount of cards that are going to come out of the Rat's hand here? He'd have to have, like, Gadgetan and just, like, prep, but then you're drawing cards as well. So...
Yeah. The general rule is like you always want to play your cards out and then draw. Like that's what rogue players always used to say back in the day about sprint is just play out all your threats and everything and then try and sprint fast. And it's just the same rule with the Divine Favor. It's just you always want to put your threats out and then draw.
All Right, this is just going to be a Gachustan, like a small value Gachustan turn. He's going to go ahead and conceal it as well. He is at 28, Brian, the Rat Cortade is, so he's at a pretty high life total, but LBYS is about to make a pretty big play this turn. He's going to be drawing 4 or 5 extra cards this turn. And probably still have mana left over to play a few of them. I don't think there's a card in his deck. There's probably like maybe 1 or 2 cards in his deck that if he drew this turn, make it difficult. I was supposed to say Leroy's one of them.
That is true. But Leroy is a good pickup for next turn because, you always got to be scared when the concealed auctioneer on board. You might just lose your board the next turn, so he's going to look to push as much damage as he can this turn and then hopefully use the Leroy to clean up next turn.
He'll even get some value off Rallying Blade here. That card's going to get a ton of damage over the next 2 turns. Buffs up the bubble Dominion there, and he gets the Rat all the way down 3. Okay, he has Spade of Knives in his deck. All right, we finally confirmed it. This is a pretty good spot for it, too.
Yeah. Hopefully he could find the second one. That's really what he needs this turn, because I was about to say, even if he picks up Fan of Knives, it doesn't really clear with this board. He's going to have to find something besides this Fan of Knives to help clean everything up, because this is just a real sticky board, the Divine Shield. And SI Agent does help, and Backstab.
Backstab was great, too. Yeah, that was huge. It's a good start. It gets you 2 cards deeper into your deck, draws you possible answers, takes off the bubble. I mean, that was a huge turn here.
Yeah. Went just about as well as he could have wanted it to, and just deals with all these minions without taking any extra damage. Because say even if he has to face tank one of these minions, it puts him down to 11, which just makes it easier for the Leroy plus a buff plus the weapon to kill him.
Yeah, what do you think about using SI7 Agent to kill the 3-1, the weapon to kill the 2-1, and then start getting busy with this attack of Cold Blood? Yeah, I guess you start off with Cold Blood just in case, but I mean, because you have to try to close this game out as quickly as possible.
And this is going to make him dead to Abusive Sergeant and the +3 attack. I don't even know the name of that Paladin card. Might.
Blessing of Might.
Yeah. Ooh, Consecration. It does it in 2 turns.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he has 2 turns.
Yeah. I mean, that was a really good play for him, Brian, the Rat Cortade last turn, trying to set up lethal. I mean, he's got 11 power in play, along with a Leroy Jenkins of his own.
So he's actually going to have to use Leroy defensively here, or else he's just going to lose the game. But it's like hard to say, because you might just have to take the risk that the Rat has absolutely nothing, but little does he know the Leroy is in his hand to just clean out the game.
Yeah, I mean, he's seen both Eviscerates, right? I'm pretty sure the Rats used both Eviscerates this game, so maybe LBYS feels that like the damage output could possibly not be there.
And this is the point where I really like the LBYS taking this line, even though it does mean he's going to lose this game. I think this is playing to win, and playing to win is just like a really important quality to have in Hearthstone, because if you just start, say, like Leroy trading, then you're just like removing percentages that you would have had. So, although it means he loses, I think it was the right play. Just unfortunate for him, and good for the Rat.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I'm always a fan of playing to win instead of playing not to lose. I think you win more games over the span of your career doing it that way. It just puts you in better spots. Unfortunately for LBYS, didn't work out this time, so Rat's going to go ahead and tie this one up. And so it's at 1-1 here, and he's still going to find a win of that Paladin deck, like we talked about. And if you think that he's the kind of guy that's just going to queue up the same deck that he loses with, I got to believe the Rat's going to go with Warrior here this game.
Yeah. I don't think